My name is Yesenia Molfino. I am 45. I like to say 45. I like that better. I was born in San Jose, Costa Rica. I was in um, an orphanage down there, my sister and I, and we were both adopted into United States. I was 4 years old when I came to the States. I had to deal with a lot of um, kind of traumatic changes. Everything from just the culture shock of coming from a Central American country into the States, going from an orphanage into a family setting. Had a lot of health issues, very malnourished. My sister and I both had multiple types of parasites, took years of medical help just to get healthy again. For the next 4 years, I dealt with a lot of child abuse from our adopted mother. You know, that transition time into the States, and then having to endure this woman's abuse really set me up for just self-hatred and wanting to escape. That's really what I learned to do at a very young age, even within that family unit. I was isolated a lot. And the abuse was, it included isolation and starvation and shame, a lot of shaming and all those kind of things. So I remember, as a child, kind of constantly wanting to escape my reality. Kids learn how to do this by disassociation, by making up. I remember making up kind of fake families. One particular time I remember being, locked in my room. I was in my room a lot, and we had that nice, 70s, 80s carpet back then, and I would find these like rocks or pebbles in the carpet, and I would make them like family members. Like there's a dad rock and a mom rock and kids rock. And one thing that I would do that I don't really know where I learned it, if I heard it somewhere, but really it portrays just that suicidal ideation that I already was struggling with. I would hyperventilate and hold my breath and pass out. And I remember that feeling of like losing time and not being conscious was, what's the word, invigorating for me. And soon I would do that over and over again. I could go a half hour and just over and over again, wanting to get to that point where I didn't feel anything, I didn't remember anything. I was just in this complete darkness. Like thinking about it as an adult, it's kind of disturbing, like how bad I just wanted to escape life. So anyways, throughout my teen years, I lived a very careless life, very self-destructive. I had no value of life, and I think then for good reason. I just didn't really have hope for the future. So anyways, this carried on through my adult life. I've been in a couple comas from drinking. I just did everything in excess, not thinking about the consequences, just still looking for an escape. constantly looking for an escape. So I struggled with substance abuse probably since my teenage years. I could say that I never drank or used modestly. It was always an excess. It was always still that same goal to escape my reality, whatever that looked like. I had children. I have 3 girls. And I remember, and I struggled with the substance abuse during that time. Very functional. I, worked a good job. I bought a house. I'm a single mom of 3 girls. I put them in sports. I tried to do everything right. I never, my biggest fear was, them ending up like me, or wanting to protect them from like any, hardship or traumas or anything like that. During that time, I put them in sports. They excelled. I kind of used that, their sports, as a second parent almost. It taught them just life lessons and discipline and health, and everything healthy that I felt like I didn't attain myself. Them growing up, struggling with addiction, not dealing with any of my past traumas and my own mental health. Really, I just tried to get over everything. I tried to just be successful, to beat the odds of how I had to grow up and what I had to go through. I started feeling and thinking thoughts like my kids would be, better off without me. Me out of the picture would be, I would at least be giving them a chance of something normal, or that I loved them so much that I felt like I had to make that sacrifice, or all my reasons were out of like this deep love and wanting to protect them from how not okay I was. And that weight of like knowing what I was thinking was probably so wrong, like it was a no-win situation. Either I lived and I had them, and they would have to continue to be corrupt in my unhealthiness, and in my brokenness, or I would take myself out of the picture and they would have to deal with the trauma of their mother committing suicide. Yeah, it was just a catch-22 for me. When I was 36, I was, an alcoholic. My parents started getting involved. My dad and my stepmom, not my adopted mother, but they started getting involved with and seeing, what my addiction actually was, how my girls were affected, and they would come over and take my girls or try to get involved, try to intervene. I had a suicide attempt. I drank a lot. I got in my car. I decided to just run off the road, run into a tree, and it would look like a DUI. At that point, I just thought it would be a safe way out. Everyone already knew I was an alcoholic. It would just be an accident. My girls wouldn't have to deal with the idea of of me committing suicide. I walked out of that accident. I totaled my car, rolled it, hit a tree, broke a telephone pole, and walked out of it barely hurt. And I remember not being able to tell anyone what I had just done, but having to face all the consequences of a DUI, of trying to save my job, of trying to, do all these things that I didn't expect. I went to a treatment and just treated it like it was a DUI, like it wasn't a big deal. And in my 40s, early 40s, I was, I think, physically and mentally not able to try to control my life anymore. My health was spiraling out, my mental health, I think just all the traumas, everything just always kind of like trying to hide everything. It just all really took a toll on me, and I lost everything. I remember at that time I like prayed and I talked to God, and I wanted out. I didn't think really that I was recoverable. There was just so much, and it was so deep, and I was so broken. And so I just really prayed and told God, like, I'll give it one more chance. Like, I knew about this program. I went into Captive Hearts here in Aurora Grande, and I knew other people that had gone through that program, and it's faith-based, Christian program. And I just thought, I'm gonna give it one more chance. And if I can't do this, if I am not recoverable, if I can't be fixed or stay sober, then I'm done. Like, it was kind of this agreement, like, I have to try one more time for my kids. I don't think it could be done, but this is the program that I found, I think, hope in, because it had given other people that I knew hope and changed lives, and still to this day are thriving. And so I came in and really was straight with the directors there, and I had told him, like, I'm here, I'm broken, I'm not okay, I don't think I'm recoverable, but here I am, like, I gotta give this a chance. I went through 10 months of that program, and I worked, with a therapist, and we did a lot of groups on post-traumatic stress disorder, which, funny enough, I had been diagnosed with that as early as probably, 6 or 7, documented PTSD, and always grew up not believing that I really had that. I didn't really understand what that was, or I thought, like, that I kind of, beat the system, that I didn't really have any symptoms of it, or like, just thinking it included, flashback, like war PTSD. Like, that's to me what that meant. And I didn't realize, like, how much of my life, my coping skills, the self-hatred, the hypervigilancy, the not connecting with people, like, all these symptoms that I had of the PTSD. And so I started working on all that. At this point, my kids were old enough. They didn't talk to me that first year I was in rehab. I think a lot of people think, when you go in, you start fixing yourself, that you'll get everything back all, soon or all at once. And that just wasn't my story. At some point, like, in recovery, when that doesn't happen, you have to realize that you have to do it for yourself. Like, nothing I could do would get them back any quicker, would make them talk to me. But my 1 year would have been August 1st of 2019, and I drank the day before. There was a lot of pressure. I don't really know why. I think it, just the pressure of my sobriety, not getting anything back, my family, just still being alone. At this point, my parents were trying to go for an open adoption with my kids because it had been, quite a few years for me to even get to the point where I was at. So I felt like I was like losing more things while I was, getting better. And then just that plan B that I had going in of like, this is my last chance if I mess up. I remember like going through that whole year of that pressure on myself of, if I don't get this right, if I mess up again, then that's it. I gave it my all and I just can't do it. And then that feeling of like when I did relapse, of disappointing my kids again, disappointing the people around me. I couldn't, I didn't come clean with anybody about that relapse. That relapse lasted a couple months, and the guilt and the shame and all that, obviously built within that time. I started struggling probably like the beginning of September in 2019, just with thoughts of committing suicide. I tried really hard for a long time, like the thoughts would come up, and I would try to just stay busy and not think about it. I made sure to, like when I was struggling with this, to not come up or think about ideas of how I would do it. I knew that was, kind of dangerous when you start making a plan. But I like already daily, weekly would have those feelings of, I want to die. I can't do this. I'm just a disappointment. I'll never get this right. And that, I was seeing a therapist at that time, and I remember kind of just hinting around about struggling with feeling suicidal. Like I did that whole thing, let somebody know, and thinking, that would, relieve that pressure. And it did some until it didn't. When I started, the thoughts and the feelings just became a lot more invasive. I had to work harder to not think about it than think about it. If I admitted to myself that I was thinking about it too much, that felt more dangerous to me, or admitting, that it was really going on.